I guess it's time. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Nico, and welcome to my Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach Ruin DLC review. Now, this is not going to be a traditional review. I'm just going to be talking about all my emotions and how I feel about the game. I'll be trying to go over the mechanics, the story, and everything else that I can blip into this video that I want to keep at least under 10 minutes, but we both know that's not going to happen. That's why there's no intro and there's going to be no background music. So just me talking to you guys about how I feel about Security Breach, the Ruin DLC, my review. So for that, let's first start with gameplay. The gameplay is honestly a lot of fun. Like, the mechanics flow really well and all that. And we're going to talk about all the different mechanics, such as the cameras, the Faz wrench, and all the little nods with the story and all of that. But the Ruin DLC is really interesting with its story and what it's trying to be, as it goes for the more narrative response as opposing to Security Breach, which was full free roam. And honestly, actually, you know what? I'm just gonna keep things short because I don't want to give myself a headache with this. This is not going to be extremely traditional at all or anything. I'm just going to tell you guys how I feel about the game. I just really like the DLC. The DLC is really good. If I was to rank it, I would say it's an 8.5 out of 10. Just everything that it gives is just really good. To the gameplay, to the story, to what it has to offer. It's just really good. It adds as such a... It pretty much acts as in addition to what Security Breach was, taking place sometime afterwards, and of course introducing us to some new characters such as Cassie, and of course the Mimic, which isn't actually introduced to us at all throughout the entire FNAF series. Well, the FNAF game series. But if you read the books, if you read the Tales of the Pizza Plus books, you would know that this thing is named the Mimic, and, well, pretty much, long story short, it explains the Mimic and how it was made and all its backstory, which I explained in my previous video. Make sure you guys go and watch that. I'll leave the link in the description below. But of course, the whole premise of the game is really interesting too. You have one goal, and that is to save Gregory. Which, as you play the game, you realize how destroyed everything is. All the animatronics are destroyed. You must help most of the animatronics while also avoiding most of the dangerous ones, like Monty's. Like, animatronics like Monty are dangerous, and so is Chica. All the animatronics are dangerous, but of course you do save some of them, such as you reboot Sun and Sun and Moon, turning them into Eclipse. You are able to help Chica get her voice box back and all that. You do end up defeating Monty, which well deserves considering the fact that he destroyed Bonnie. But yeah, other than that, just the game flows really well. The story's really good, and there's also little like foreshadowing and nods to the fact that you're being lured down there, and that what you think is Gregory isn't Gregory. The whole interactions are the foreshadowing in between you getting to the Pizzaplex and the end game, as there's some moments where Gregory sounds like robotic in a way, and then to points where it's like he's repeating some of the things he's already said before, and to the final point where he says the stupid door open, which is the exact line from the beginning of what Security Breach was. And the fact that the Ruin DLC was a more narrative experience, a more narrative in nature, was kind of a bold step in the way, considering the fact that Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach was full free roam. So the fact that the DLC kind of adds as additional story, or like, it kind of just adds on to what Security Breach was, and of course adds to the story, adding some new characters, like I said before. But it was a pretty bold way to change it from full free roam to a more narrative experience. But that's something I really applaud the Ruin DLC for. It was an interesting, really fun experience. The gameplay doesn't seem too hefty or difficult to understand. Everything is fairly simple in the ways you must play the game, of course, that being using the vending mask to get to places that you wouldn't be able to go before, using the wrench to open up new ways, and of course even the combination of using the cameras with the mask to search for anomalies, fix them, open up completely new areas, or well, not really new areas, but like new pathways to go through to venture further into the Pizzaplex, getting you even closer to Gregory, is really, really cool. I love the whole way that the game goes, and the fact that it already had something to build up upon, as when Security Breach was released, of course, it had a lot of glitches and bugs, which are patched now. Today's a different day as it's gone through many patches since its release. You can play a much more clean game playing Security Breach now than you would before. A more fun experience, but it doesn't really nearly beat out the charm that Security Breach had. It was a glitchy mess at the beginning, but it was a fun glitchy mess, which kind of gave it its own personality and charm to it. It was Steel's first game as a team to make, and it was really big, and I think they did a really good job of what they were doing with the game. Same for the Ruin DLC. They had stuff to build upon. They already had stuff like the design of the Pizzaplex, making it more destroyed and all that. They had the designs of the animatronics already made, which would explain how the Ruin DLC was made pretty early, and we were able to get our hands on it more quickly than any other new FNAF game title. And you would expect with how fast it came out that it would have quite a few bugs still and all that, but no, the game plays really smoothly and really well from beginning to the end. It's really good. It has very so small bugs. The only bug that I can think of is the whole Bonnie bug, which is a bug that doesn't let you actually get into Bonnie's little area, and it's something that they're still trying to fix. But that's more of a side Easter egg, if anything. You don't have to go for it. So the entire game if you're casually playing it from one point to the other, from beginning to end, without trying to look for any secrets, it plays tremendously. There's no known bugs and or glitches with the game. It rolls fairly smoothly. The narrative of it is really cool. And there's still some mystery, don't get me wrong. There's still stuff to discover in the game with the different endings and the way it plays out and all that. Like, all the collectibles, you don't have to collect the collectibles, but it's fun to collect them and find out what else there is. Like the real-life collectibles being fast tokens for the story later on from Candy Cadet, and of course, the comics that Gregory makes are really cool collectibles to find, and of course have their own little personality to them, as they have the little box that has kind of in a way Cassie's opinion on them, like Gregory should be an artist someday, or like Gregory must have seen this mask before, or stuff like that, or like where is Bonnie, or like my dad never told me where Bonnie was, or what happened to Bonnie, and stuff like that. It's really cool little Easter egg things that they didn't have to add, but they did, which shows that they really did care about making the game. They poured their hearts into making a wonderful DLC that I personally enjoyed playing, and it was so good I would have even paid $5 to $10 to play it. It was generally a really good DLC, even if it was a bold way to go with it being narrative compared to what Security Breach was being full free roam, but that's okay. There's enough content in Ruin DLC to keep you playing it every now and then. Like, I had to replay it like 4 different times on Profile 2 before I found out how to get some of the secret endings for the finale live stream I did today, as the making of this video is still the same day as the 9-year anniversary. So happy birthday, Five Nights at Freddy's. Happy 9-year anniversary. But yeah, Security Breach is honestly a really fun experience. And if you've already played Security Breach, I definitely recommend playing the Ruin DLC. But not before, of course, playing Security Breach in general if you haven't already. Security Breach is really fun. It doesn't have the charm that it did before, being that kind of glitchy mess, but it was fun. It had its own charm with that. But you'll still have fun playing it, considering that it doesn't have any of the bugs anymore or any of that. And playing that, and of course getting into the Ruin DLC, really cool. It had some really cool mystery to it, and had its own really cool narrative experience. The mechanics and gameplay were fun, keeps you on your toes. The whole MXES program is there to keep you from constantly being in the mask, which is also a cool threat to always keep in the back of your mind. Like, okay, so while I have this thing on, I need to pay attention that the MXES can appear anytime. It has this presence to it that it's like, okay, I can't keep the mask on for too long, which is really cool. It gives those people, those lore seekers, some challenge to trying to find the secrets and lore of the game, which is really cool. And I personally enjoy kind of those types of fun challenges and all that. Like, what the Ruin DLC had to offer was just, honest to God, really fun, expansive lore, story, and characters to what was already an amazing series. I think Ruin DLC succeeded in what it was trying to do. It was a really fun DLC for Security Breach. And yeah, even getting to the end part, of course, talking about the Mimic and what happens. The fact that you come to the realization that you were tricked all along is a really cool plot twist. But of course, something that any person that has a brain can possibly figure out on the way to getting to the Mimic, with the whole, foreshadowing of Gregory's voice somewhat being robotic and repeating the same words some of the time, being very beg-like and all of that. As we know, Gregory along the way has become a lot more mature for a little kid as he did before, as he has a new mother figure in Vanessa. But yeah, and then of course the biggest plot twist being the very end when you realize you're tricked in that Gregory is around and that the Mimic was just signaling his, jamming his signal to get contact with you was really cool, very interesting. Keeps you on your toes, definitely gives you that, oh no, this is what happened and all that. It kind of keeps the suspense of it, and I really like that. And the fact that you weren't even supposed to be at the Pizzaplex altogether. And the part that's even more, that flips things even more on their head is the very, very end, where Gregory leads you through the tunnels to get to the elevator, which would be to your, which would lead to your, salvation, your safety, and later realizing that Gregory can't take risks, like probably acting on Vanessa's accord, as Vanessa is probably with them at the time where Gregory's like, this thing's dangerous. They're scared of the Mimic. They can't take any risk of it following her. And having to make the cruel choice into having to just cut the elevator and to sacrifice his only real friend other than his own mother figure in Vanessa. Which is a really dark turn. But again, it's Five Nights at Freddy's. The Ruin DLC had its own really cool Five Nights at Freddy's feel to it. It felt like a Five Nights at Freddy's DLC from beginning to the end. Had its own charm to it, own narrative experience, fun story, addition of new characters like Cassie and the Mimic, some cool new secrets, of course with that dark ending, and it wouldn't be a FNAF game without a dark ending, and multiple endings at that at this point. Like, any FNAF game nowadays has multiple different endings to it, and just, it's a jaw-dropping end for Security Breach of the Ruin DLC, in all honesty. But of course, what's even better is the fact that at the very end, too, at the end of the credits, if you do stand by for the end of the credits, you get a little, not really a little dialogue, but you get this whole voice thing from Roxy saying Cassie with a question mark, which could obviously indicate that Cassie may have survived the fall and that Roxy was there to save her or something. But who really knows? All we can tell is that that may indicate that Cassie survived, and that her, along with Roxy, may make appearances in the next FNAF game and or DLC, as it would make sense for there to be more DLC for Security Breach, considering the newest book being Tales of the Pizzaplex. It would be fun to get new DLC for Security Breach, I'm not gonna lie. Like, kind of like its own spread, like, we get to learn many of the stories of the Pizzaplex. Like, we just got Gregory's and Cassie's story, so whose story is it next? Like, does Gregory have a new friend or something, or are we gonna get a new story entirely? Who really knows? There's a lot of different ways this can go out, but as of now, we know there's a new game coming out this November or sometime in the future, being FNAF VR 2. Really excited to see what that's about, but yeah, the fact that Cassie and Roxy could be in the next game and or DLC in the future, Roxy's redemption arc being able to continue as one of the more good guys, being beside Cassie, could be really, really cool idea. And the fact that the Mimic is now free, as it is an extremely aggressive, pretty much the antagonist of this game, can be really interesting as it is still around. It could quite possibly be the antagonist for the rest of the series, considering the fact that Princess Quest ending is the canon ending, and that Vanessa is now free, meaning the only real antagonist that we have at now is the Mimic, which is interesting. Now that it's free, it can quite literally be the focus of the main enemy in the next game and or DLC in the future. All we can do is speculate at this moment, but that was my review on the FNAF Ruin DLC. I think it was really good, a really good DLC, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I give it an 8.5 out of 10 because, again, everything was nice and all that. I would give it a 9 if it weren't for the fact that there is a part that's kind of buggy with the its foes being the Music Man part, but you guys can just listen to my stream and what I think of those guys in the videos. Like, those things piss me off. That was like the only big flaw of the game is in Bonnie Bull with Bonnie Bull had the biggest glitches, actually, mainly because of the characters with the Music Man's always being little cheaty little buggers. Like, they can appear and reappear randomly when you put on the mask or not. They sometimes don't follow the noises that you send on the indicators. And of course, that's the place of where you can see Bonnie, but that whole little side thing is completely blocked off because of a little bug in the game. But yeah, other than that, 8.5 out of 10. It's really good. Recommend playing it if you haven't already, but make sure to play Security Breach first. But yeah, that's been my FNAF Ruin review. I really liked it. It was a really fun adventure, honestly. Like, and I can't wait to come back to it in the future. I will definitely revisit it at some point in the future. But as of right now, I am done with Security Breach of the Ruin DLC. That is the end of it. This is the last video that I'll be doing of it for now. Time to move on to other things like FNAF fan games, other horror games, and or Geometry Dash. So, with that said, that is the end of Ruin DLC. It has been a long ride, my friends, but we're finally over. It's finally over. We're done. It was quite a ride. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, except for the Bonnie Bull section. I hate those little buggers. The Music Men are my least favorite FNAF character. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you guys never miss a video. I'll see you guys in the next video stream and or post. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought of the review and what you guys think of the Ruin DLC. Later, Gators!
Let's rock till the sun goes down. Take a kiss from the moon.